Good morning, good afternoon, and good night, and welcome to the Amateur Otaku Podcast. How is everybody doing out there? I am Brandon Alvarado, the Scarlet Fan here, and I'm so excited to be back here tonight, live on YouTube, to talk awesome anime. I hope everybody's ready. We have a great show for you guys. We are back talking My Hero Academia today, and we're also back talking Spy Family. We have a great show planned for you today, also with a nice Q&A portion towards the end. We're hoping everybody can send us questions that we can cover them. So if you guys have specific questions for us about specific shows, manga that you're reading, or questions that you just want to ask us about anime in general and manga, make sure that you put all your questions in the comment section below, because at the end, we will pick 3 questions and discuss them on the stream. But of course, guys, as you guys know, when I come over here to the Amateur Otaku, when we get together, it's not just me. It's an almighty plus ultra crew. And I'm joined by Mike Thomas.
Fear not, citizens. Hawks is going to get a little crispy today.
So while Mike laughs about Hawks inadvertently Kentucky Fried Chicken treatment.
Finger looking good, man.
Oh, my God. And I'm surprised. The first 13 quote of the day has nothing to do with Mirko. And the one and only Isak Wolf. What is up, man?
Big ties save lives.
And there it is.
Hey, you set that one up when you mentioned Mirko.
I did. I'm 100% responsible, and I do not regret it one bit. Okay, guys. So let's do this. If you guys love what we do here at the Amateur Otaku Podcast, make sure you hit subscribe, click on that like button, click on that bell for notifications so you do not miss any episode, any streams, any of the content that we put out. We put out videos and content every single week of both My Hero Academia, anime, manga, Spy Family, a bunch of different movies that we do. We also have the podcast channel. If you want to listen to us on the go, you can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, wherever podcasts are found, you can find the Amateur Otaku Podcast. We finally got everything set up in a way that if you missed the live stream on Sundays, don't worry, it'll come up on the Spotify on Mondays, so you guys can capture the whole channel and have a great time with us on the go as well. Now, the first thing I want to do, guys, is before we jump into My Hero Academia, guys, we had an awesome comment from one of our listeners in regards to our topic of last week's conversation of the best anime for beginners. And I want to go ahead and give a shout out to this user and share the recommendations because, hey guys, we're not the only one that watch anime and we're not the only one that give recommendations out. So I'm going to read this out. Sounds good, guys?
Let's do it.
So this comes from YouTuber Red Moon Blood Moon, and he wrote the following. Anime that don't feel like anime. Anime for people new to anime or anime for non-anime fans. Age of viewer needs to be taken into consideration, though, of course, as some of these are more mature anime, some might not be good for young viewers. Which, by the way, guys, when I read that, it makes perfect sense because there's plenty of anime for everybody, but we kind of went hard R because, I don't know, maybe we're adults.
You see, but that's why I think, one, this is a great topic of conversation, but two, it also is a list we can revisit and revise, right? Because we kind of just went general. That's why I recommended Spy Family for like a more family-friendly option.
Yeah.
We could totally do an entire episode dedicated to anime for children, anime for adults, etc., different genres and stuff.
And I'm glad that you mentioned that because I think we need to clarify to the world, Made in Abyss is not an anime for children.
It looks like it is, but man, I watched that on Toonami, and you can go back. I actually live tweeted it on the Otaku Twitter account. I was a mess. That was not a good time for me.
But
wasn't it like Attack on Titan being the most lighthearted episode on that Toonami run?
That
Or what did you say?
That day was ridiculous because Attack on Titan was the Cowboy Bebop was the most lighthearted episode of the night. And that was just really funny.
So he goes on to talk about the difference in ages, which is great. I'm assuming it's a guy. I'm sorry. If you're a girl, sorry, you're still awesome. Doesn't change anything.
No matter the gender, let's put it like that.
Exactly. So might not be good for younger viewers, even if they're good for those new to anime or whole non-anime fans. Then they go up talking about generally quirky, common anime characteristics, taking into culture, which I think was so interesting because this user went really deep into identifying the audience to then recommend, which actually speaks to one of the biggest things that we love here at the Amateur Otaku, the idea that there's something for everybody. Like, if you want something that's kind of ecky or kind of dirty, there's stuff there. If you want something that's hard on super sci-fi, there's stuff there. If you want something that's adventure focused, you got something there. If you have a gambling fix that you're looking for, there's something there. If you want just a simple murder mystery, there's something for everybody. And I'm glad that we're not the only ones. There's a huge community of people, and this person is definitely representing them. But then they have a list here, which I'm going to go by real quick. Of course, the first thing they mention is both Full Metal Alchemist and Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. Can we all agree? And everybody needs to see that. Mike.
Well, I just bought a copy of Brother.
Once fall is over, I am going to knock out Full Metal. It's not that long. I'll get to it. Promise.
I believe you. I want to believe you.
I just bought Brotherhood, so that should speak for itself.
So then it goes to, got Full Metal Alchemist, both series. The Red Moon's recommending Attack on Titan, which, amazing. Death Note, which we mentioned, procedurals. Monster, which, by the way, is one of those shows that I've been wanting to watch, but
Netflix
Isaac keeps reminding me that it's in limbo.
Yeah, Netflix, Crunchy, or Disney needs to save that ass because it's in licensing limbo.
But you know what's funny? I kind of want them to save it, but at the same time, I've heard so much good stuff about it that I don't want Netflix to save it to then do a crappy live action version.
That's what's gonna happen.
It is. It's gonna happen.
It's to be fair, it's one of the easiest anime is to make a live action adaptation of. So there's that.
So it's that much easier to make it wrong. So Claymore, Ghost in the Shell, Standalone Complex, Black Lagoon, which we all mentioned, Big O, Samurai Champloo, Rurouni Kenshin, which is a show that we've talked about here on the Amateur Otaku, Samurai Champloo, Cowboy Bebop, of course, Nana, which is a classic anime, Violet Evergarden, Baccano, one of the greatest anime of all time, which sounds great.
So we have stolen the museum door, so the police can't get in.
Hunter x Hunter.
Yes, it's an actual quote from Baccano.
Look at you showing off, you mad doctor, you. Hunter x Hunter, Demon Slayer, Blood Plus. I am a big fan of Blood Sea. Are there any fans of Blood Sea out there? Because I'm a huge fan of Blood Sea. But yeah, what a great recommendation. Red Moon, you're awesome. Thank you for taking the time of joining us and listening to our take and our anime recommendations. We want to give you that shout out. Awesome comment. Keep bringing it. Keep having conversations with us because that's why we do this at the Amateur Otaku podcast. Now, I'm glad. You know what, man? I've been wanting to watch Baccano, Argwinder, but the only way you can watch it is to buy it. But it's super expensive.
It's amazing.
Okay, Isaac, can you stop bragging? I'm kind of talking about how I'm kind of sad right now because I want to watch Baccano.
That's rough, buddy.
Okay, but guys, thank you for the comments. Keep bringing them. Let's start this. Let's do this thing. Oh my God, are you guys seeing this? He's just that. So Arcwinder says, for those that are listening, there are other ways. There are dark ways. I am a good human being. Don't do that to me. We talk about legal. So, we're not villains. We are heroes. And of course, we are talking My Hero Academia. That was an amazing segue. Everybody has to admit it and accept it.
Not bad.
We are talking My Hero Academia, guys. We are back this Sunday. Talk My Hero. Oh my God, backstage, awesome. We're talking My Hero Academia anime. We're back with episodes 116 and 117 of season 6. First episode, 116, One's Justice. A lot happened on this episode. There's lots to talk about. We, as a group, I know we've been waiting for this episode to come back, to premiere. And I don't know, guys. Around the table, Mike, Once Justice, Hawks confrontation with Twice. The truth comes out that he has infiltrated the League of Villains. Talk to us.
It is painful. And it's even more painful here than it was in the manga when we read it initially.
Yes.
And
yes.
that again, it's the anime taking the source material and elevating. We talked about this all the time during our Attack on Titan coverage, right? But the idea of taking that source material, taking the incredible work that Horikoshi did with this moment, and the score, right? The animation, the lighting, like the way that they lit Hawks in that scene is terrifying. I had to bust out the old profile picture in honor of my boy, the number 2 hero.
Well done.
But yeah, like this was an amazing episode of MHA, and Twice has always been one of the best characters, especially on the villain side. But one thing that really, really sticks out in this episode, and something that I really love that they were able to have come across, right, is this idea of him finding his place, finding his purpose, even though it is through villainy and through the paranormal liberation front. Hawks is essentially saying he pities Jin. But I love how Jin's like, you don't need to pity me. I've never been happier in this moment. And he sacrifices himself saving Toga. Well, he was dying anyway, but he does, try and save Toga and Compress at the end. It's just really moving, man. It's one of the best episodes of the season. And yeah, brilliantly written. And I know I know things take an interesting turn as we get further into this arc. And this has already been an amazing season. This still might be the best episode of the entire season so far. Honestly.
Yeah. There's it has a lot. It has a lot. It has a lot. It was so great. So great. Agreed. Argwinder. Isaac, your thoughts on episode 116, Once Justice?
Well, Twice is a prime example of a nature versus nurture villain kind of deal, and it was an excellent episode for a lot of reasons that Mikey has said. Because my dear Lord, that soundtrack in particular helped out a lot, and yeah. I know that it would be an emotional episode, but I didn't expect it to be that much hard hitting.
I think we're all thinking the same thing. It's like it hit different, right? Different in a good way. Like the beats are there. Like we all knew, like we've all read the book. We all knew this was going to happen. We pretty much knew the conversation. We knew how it was going to go down for the most part, because I don't remember a lot. But I knew the bones of what was going to happen. But this hit hard. It hit hard. Like, especially the name of the episode speaks so truly to what's explored in the episode, because this is a very philosophical episode. The idea of one's justice, the idea of the one thing that defines you and defines what you think is right or wrong, right? That's the idea of justice. Which, again, if you guys want to talk about someone, you guys want to watch a show that's all about the exploration of the meaning of the word justice, watch Death Note. Not only that, you have the best meme. I am justice. So many memes. But the idea that you have Hawks not only as a spy, but now taking the role of assassin for the sake of peace, right? And him kind of talking himself into the fact that I need to do this, because if we have two immovable objects that are so clearly focused on different goals, the only way you can win is by killing the other side. You have Hawks just going through this, like he's kind of preaching to himself, but at the same time talking to the audience. because he's the number 2 hero, and he's outwardly talking about murdering someone for the sake of society and the world, right? But on the other side, Twice is doing what he's doing because to him, defending and protecting those that never turn their back on him is the right thing.
Yeah.
Those
And-
dichotomies are so powerful.
But that's also one shows you the flaw in hero society in this series, and that's why
Yes.
I think
Yes.
Hawks. That's why Hawks is one of my favorite characters in the entire franchise, because you do have that idea of good versus evil, and for so long, My Hero Academia has always painted things in such a broad black and white world.
Yep.
But Jin and now Hawks have always introduced that element of gray, and it leads perfectly into the next episode when we get Shigaraki, and you're reminded of his origin story that we saw last season, and you see these here like Hawks is doing what he believes is right, but also Hero Society has failed Jin, it has failed Tenko, Shimura,
Yep.
and led them down this path to where it's an endless cycle. Hawks has to kill Twice. Otherwise, evil will reign, but Twice is only evil because Hero Society failed him. And that is a deep and powerful theme that I'm glad we finally get a chance to explore in My Hero, because it was always all for one is evil, All Might is the symbol of peace. And now we're starting to see, it's not that simple. Yeah, exactly. So for the audio listeners, we have a comment here saying, I find it funny that Hawks is the hero, but he's following orders from asshole bosses. And Twice is a villain, but he's doing everything for his friends and family. Yeah, that's exactly what makes this confrontation specifically so interesting. And then you have Dabi just storm in, right? Like, yeah, I'm going to do what I want.
Yep. Yeah. Which also he's executing his justice, right? What he considers to be his justice and why he's doing what he's doing. And we got to talk about Dabi in a minute, but I like how you mentioned the idea of broad strokes, Mike, and how good and evil has been always very black and white in the way that it's been explored throughout the series of My Hero. But I love how Horikoshi, especially where we're going in the book, right? Introducing this big arc, this war arc, this crisis on Infinite Academia arc, right? Trademark pending. It's they're exploring the flaws of your society, all the gray in between, and all the people hurt because of the gray. And it's really revealing the pillars of society and what actually is holding society together, but also makes for so much interesting and mature conversation, which we never did have before. We're having it now. And this is My Hero Academia going into the corners and spaces that I've been waiting so long for it to get. Because I think we're finally getting to those conversations and topics that were teased and promised in the Stain arc, right?
Yes.
Those in-depth conversations about really what is the right thing to do, what it is to be a hero, what it is to do the right thing. Like all those things are so interesting and so powerful. But yeah, man, it's just so great. Now, you mentioned Dabi. Dabi just coming in and just, I'm just gonna do whatever I want, right? But what's so powerful, which I think I just want to say this shit between. Oh my god!
That honestly might be the greatest shit name of all time.
Okay, guys. So,
but also, I just want to take a second and be like, "Hey, My Hero fandom, slow down on all the ships, please.
Please,
you got too many ships in this dang fandom, guys.
Yes,
tone it back. Thank you."
And the funny thing is, Horikoshi's not helping.
No.
What the comment says is, I just want to say the ship between Hawks and Dabi is called Hot Wings. I'm not even joking.
Oh boy. I love how Isaac just listens to our deep conversations and looks for the first opportunity of just breaking the channel.
He's got to let the audio listeners know the chaos that happens and why they need to join live.
I love what the comments are saying here. MHA fans, never increase ships tenfold. In other words, they're embracing one for all the wrong reasons.
Yes.
So wrong. Now, let's talk about Dabi. He comes out of nowhere.
That takes us to episode 117, right?
No, Dabi's still episode 116. Because I think 117 is all about Shigaraki.
That's what I get for watching these in a row.
Hey, it's no problem. But we're going to go to Shigaraki. Don't worry. There's a lot to talk there, too. But the one thing about Dabi that I love is that we've always known that Dabi looks interesting. He reminds us of characters, blah, blah, blah. But I think his character arc took a huge step forward in this episode. Because now they're setting him up as a villain. Like an actual important figure, right? Like for the longest time, he's been around, but they also kind of use him like a background character, right?
Yeah.
And in this offensive encounter of Hawks, this is the first time that we kind of get a glimpse of what Dabi's all about. And like when he literally tells Hawk, I never trusted you at all. I'm just gonna do what I want. And then he brings back Stain, and you're like, yo. Because if you guys remember, the first time that Dabi was introduced in a visual was right at the arrest of Stain.
Yeah.
That they introduce Spinner, they introduce Compress, they introduced Twice, they showed Toga, and they showed Dabi. Like, these are the people that came out of the woodworks because of what Stain did. So I like how that arc, that conversation is kind of leading the pact in what's going to happen forward. And I don't know. I like scary Dabi.
I'm glad you mentioned Stain, and I so love that they finally got a call back to that, right? Because we have, like you said, when we were first introduced, this is going back into season 2 of My Hero Academia, which is at this point a very long time ago.
It's like 70 episodes ago.
Yeah. So we're introduced to him during that Stain arc, but from the get-go, he says, I'm following Stain's ideology, kill the fakes. And I love how that callback is here where he says kill the fakes.
Right.
And that's why he has a vendetta. Even in the intro, you see him burning Endeavor's poster. He had, much like Stain, views Endeavor and this new generation of heroes as less than. And they don't hold that standard to All Might. Though Mirko, I feel like we all know that she's probably the closest of this group of heroes to Deku and All Might's sacrificial mentality. But I think that's great that we're kind of going back to the roots of Dabi as a character. And then why does he know Hawks' real name? Right? Like, what is up with this guy?
And not only that, to me, that's the most terrifying thing, right? Because it's not just the fact that, listen to this, it's not just the fact that he knows his name. It's the fact that Dabi made the spy freak out.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, this guy that has held his composure as he infiltrated the biggest villain society or sector or paranormal terrorist group, whatever. Like, he's been in undercover for what? A season and a half?
Yeah.
Because I think it was from the end of season 4 to the entirety of season 5, right? He's pretty much been undercover. So he's been undercover all this time. No. Will do, sir. Will do. So he was able to get him to freak out. Not once, but twice. Pun intended. But I found that fascinating. Again, another kudos to the direction team, to the editing, and elevating the material and setting up Dabi like this threat.
So,
right?
Yeah, I want to, again, like you said, give kudos. I've been rereading this arc as we get through it, like I always do for every season of My Hero. There is
Overachiever.
there is a panel. Well, this is where it pays off, right? There is a panel.
Yes.
In between the confrontation with Twice and Hawks and Dabi showing up, and there's a panel where you see Dabi like running up the stairs. So it ruins the shock and surprise of him just appearing there, and the anime cut that panel out. So you're just as terrified and surprised as Hawks is in that moment.
Nice.
Which is great direction on their part. They actually removed a panel from the manga to emphasize that fear and terror.
Nice. So good. So good. And I love the idea of them presenting all those things, right?
Yeah.
And just building a better version of the book that's already phenomenal. So I think the biggest thing is I'm just so happy that the anime version of this super powerful, yeah, the anime version of this awesome book paid off so well. I'm just so excited. It was great.
Isaac, you've been kind of quiet, man. What are your thoughts so far?
I mean, these 2 episodes has truly been on fire, and for all the good reasons.
Wow.
Jeez.
What? What?
No, go ahead. Finish your point.
I think they have executed the whole Dabi versus Hawks interaction much better than it was in the manga.
And not only that, to say that Dabi's introduction was so great that we're not even talking how much of a badass Hawks was in this scene, because Dabi just overshadowed Hawks.
Yeah, and like Hawks is
in the best way.
Hawks is still doing the thing, right? Like he gets torched, and I love the conversation he has with Tokoyami about how he overcomes his weakness, right? Just be faster than the other guy.
Yeah.
You can say he flew a little too close to the sun this time, though, because I still love how he didn't give up. He made sure he finished the mission, right?
Yes.
And that Hawks is so fascinating to me because he's less of a hero and he's more of a spy. It's for the mission.
Yes.
His priority, his job at this point in the war is just to make sure he takes down Jin. And so even if he dies here at the hands of Dabi, he's like, okay, well, I got to trust Endeavor and the rest to finish out the plan, but I've played my part.
Yeah.
Which is almost the complete opposite of someone like All Might or Deku in a way, because the plan is to save everyone, right? Like they would pull a Takano Jutsu and try and get Twice on their side, not just say there's no chance you walk away from this. You can't do it.
Like All Might and Deku, they're bringing Sasuke back no matter what. Like that's how they're built.
Yes, another Naruto reference. We are undefeated this year, guys.
It was right there. Go Bucks. So now that scene between Twice and Toga, or Twice's Twice double and Toga, was just heartbreaking.
We have a comment here that says Hawks is less of a good person and more of a good soldier, which is totally fair assessment.
Yep, agreed.
But
it's funny that he says that. It's, the comment, that's a great comment, because it literally, it sadly illustrates the reality that in times of war, you need good soldiers.
Yeah,
it's like the harsh reality of reality. So it's super interesting that we're able to see this in this world that used to be so pretty. Like we're seeing all those the darkness of it, right?
Remember the sports festival and like the world was just fine and at peace.
It's like if anybody was wondering when My Hero was gonna cross into Shippuden, we're there, guys. It's here. It's happened. Now, that moment, Twice and Toga, was so heartbreaking, and I like the idea of good and evil acting as labels and these characters or people being more than what they seem to be, right? Like everybody still has all those basic wants and needs, and a lot of times what drives them is how they feel it. But that doesn't mean they agree with society, right? Now I'm not saying that everybody needs to become a villain, but I like that we're seeing those things. Like just because you were evil doesn't mean you don't have deep relationships with people, or even though they can be kind of crazy. So, but so great. Are we ready? Are we, Isaac? Anything else on this episode? Are we ready to go to the next one?
I think we can go to the next one.
Let's go to the next one. Mike, kick it off. So next episode is Inheritance. And the first thing I want to mention, about this one is, and I'll pass it over to you, Mike. I love the balance between the A and the B plot. The idea, I feel that we're not spending too much time on one battlefield and less on the other. I feel it's being the screen time is being shared enough where I'm enjoying both stories. And I think the cliffhanger and the work that we did with Hawks and Twice literally filled me up enough so that I can go to the other side, back to Mirko, and I'm not wanting that other story because it dealt the blow and then I'm moving forward. You know what I mean? Yeah. I like that swap. I think they're doing that very well this season. So we're back with Shigaraki. Mirko, go.
Yeah. So just touching on Twice and Toga right quick. I think it's such a great ending. And you guys noticed, right, in the outro that they changed the outro for that episode, which I thought was an incredible touch.
What did they change? Because I took it off. What they changed?
Ooh. So hold on. I'm going to talk through. So we have the outro, and there's a moment where it cuts back, where it cuts to Tomura. And then
we kind of lost you, Mike, for a minute there. Technical difficulties. I think we lost you, Mike.
Do you know when a joke becomes a dad joke?
When a joke becomes a dad joke?
Yes.
I don't. Go ahead.
When it comes apparent.
And that's why. Wow. That is so bad. That is so bad.
What?
Now,
it's just wonderful.
While someone applies the restoration jutsu on Mike, I want to.
What are you laughing at?
You think I'd let something like technical difficulties take me down when I'm talking about lore? So, in the outro, there's a shot of Tomura looking out into the distance. It cuts back to Izuku looking out to the distance, which, again, love the parallels that they're drawing between the two. Yep. But in this specific episode, One's Justice, which is also named after the video game My Hero Academia One's Justice.
I haven't heard a good thing about that, or am I misremembering stuff?
It's another Naruto thing.
Yeah. Horikoshi actually has confirmed that that's why that chapter and this episode is named One's Justice. But they replaced the shot of Shigaraki with a shot of Twice and Toga.
No.
And then it transitions to Toga by herself, and it is heartbreaking.
Yo.
And so go back, watch the end credits of episode 116 if you want to have one final goodbye to Twice and have your heart ripped out of your chest. Because
twice as fast.
Yeah, twice as fast. Yeah. So here's just a screenshot of it if it loads in. Yeah, there it is.
Yo.
Pain.
You know what, Mike? Why you do this, bro? Like I was ready to move on, and you
Flame
just
bones.
Damn it!
Yeah, it's it's pretty fascinating. I think. I wonder how many times we're going to do that this season. There's a lot of different moments where you can tweak the outro because a big thing happens in this war arc. But going into the next episode, Shigaraki. Yeah, I love the balance that we have between the two. I find it, like you said, the A and B plot, right? Cutting between Hawks and Mirko and Endeavor. The only thing that I feel is lacking is Midoriya and the kids. And I think that's, like, I want you guys' take on this. For a show called My Hero Academia, we have not had a lot of the academia characters in this first month of the season.
Yeah.
Do you think it's good that we're focusing on the pro heroes, or do you think we should incorporate the Isaac? Let me finish the full question.
Sorry.
Brandon, what are your thoughts?
I mean, Isaac was already breaking through, so go ahead, Isaac.
No, I just feel like it's going back to what we had talked about earlier. He has implemented so many. How should I put it? Also, yeah, you can't have every academic student everywhere, so it makes sense to have give the spotlight to the pro heroes there.
Okay.
Yeah, that's fair. I just think, again, Naruto rarely, like, aside from the cutting to Sasuke, we never got like a Kakashi and Guy only mission type of deal, you know?
Which is one of the weaknesses with Naruto in my book, but I digress.
Brandon, what are your thoughts, man?
I personally, I don't think we've spent so much time with the pro heroes that I like the time we're spending with them now, because I'm not going to finish my thought in its entirety because I don't want to spoil anything. But I like the time that we're spending with them because we've never seen a pro hero do anything apart from work study situations and the little bit that we got of Fat Gum. Like we in the overhaul arc.
Yeah.
So we really haven't spent time with the pro heroes. And I like the fact that we're not just spending time with the pro heroes. We're seeing the pro hero institution and the inner workings of it in planning this attack against the Kekai Sensei or whatever. I've heard it like 5 times every episode.
Paranormal Liberation Front.
You know what I mean? Like, I was trying to do the Japanese thing and it just didn't work. But I like the fact that we're seeing the organization, the strategicness. Like it feels like it's no longer a kids show. Does that make sense? It gives that weight to it. Because we're not talking about kids that are worried about their own things. We're talking about the adults being worried about this. And then slowly but surely, we're going to see how that affects the kids. Because, for example, little things like what we saw with Tokoyami and like him reminiscing about Hawks, right? Like we're already seeing that connection, right? Of how is what's going on with the adults and pro heroes going to affect the kids. So I like that they're setting all that up to move forward into that. Does that make sense? So that's why I think it's okay, because it would have bothered me more, I would say, if they were not in any battlefield at all. But we know they're involved. So at some point we have to address them because they're already there. So there's no way that you tell a successful story if you don't include them in anything at any point. Does that make sense?
Yeah. This goes back to the strength of anime versus manga, because remember, they're adapting roughly 3 chapters an episode.
Yeah.
So can you imagine? And manga readers kind of got this feeling fairly recently, but can you imagine going this long without seeing Deku do anything? Because I want to remind you guys, a lot of these scenes, these like evacuation scenes throughout the anime this season are added. That's Bones reminding you what the kids are doing right now. That is not in the manga.
Which is great. Yeah. Maybe, and probably because what you're saying, but at the same time, they're not giving us too much to distract us.
Yeah.
They're just providing some presence to what's going on.
Yep.
Yeah. So, but yeah. Now, Isaac, this episode, we get back to Mirko, which she's kind of losing steam. We get Endeavor finally arriving there to help Crust, Laser, and whatever the name of those other pro heroes are.
Hey! Have respect for Xless.
Oh, it's X. Oh. Okay, I don't know what he has more of, but okay, Xless. But Isaac, thoughts? Share.
I mean, what can I say more than, well, I love some women that never give up.
Yes.
I
love how you have. I put so many things out there, and you're just trying to say "Thigh saves life" in a different way.
Yeah, at least he changed it up for once. I respect that. Isaac's crush on Mirko has,
Yes,
it's a lot. It's a lot. I know everybody feels the same way, but my goodness.
I mean, we have Mirko, we have Midnight, we have Jor, who can't. Who isn't celebrating this fall?
So, about this episode.
Shout out to my boy, Baby Tanko / Tomura Shigaraki / Shimura for doing his best Anya impression. This is clearly the face.
Okay, bet. I can see that. I'll allow it. Now, I love Mirko is embracing her inner Leonidas. From, you know what I mean, like,
yes,
she's like, we're gonna die, so I'm just gonna give it all, and if I die, I die. It is what it is. You know what I mean? So I really like that energy that she's just presenting, and it's just so great. Now, I do have to say, I gotta say my biggest enjoyment here, I'm going back to Present Mike, and all the scenes with him in dealing with the effects of what this doctor did. I love how much time we're spending with Present Mike, which I know it's in the books, but there's the voice acting is so on point here. The animation, the synchronization between him dealing with the thoughts and the disgust, and also having to fulfill his duty, right?
Yeah.
Because there's no way that there's no way that he's not thinking about killing this guy. Like, you can feel that pressure, that sense of urgency of, we need to get rid of this guy in any way, shape, or form that we can, right?
Yeah, we felt that from the beginning of the season in the first confrontation with the doctor.
Yeah,
I love how we're building on top of that.
Yeah, and also how it connects to the when he punches him. Like, I love how he says, "Well, I gotta find out if you're the real one." Like,
I also love how Mirko said the same thing when she got to the doctor. She's like, "I'll find out when I kick him." Yep.
Like, yeah. But I love how he goes back, like, that's for making my friend cry. And he's talking about Aizawa.
Yes.
And that's like, it's so powerful, so great. And so
I just have to ask, am I the only one that can't take the doctor seriously?
I don't think you're supposed to.
Honestly. Yeah.
Because, I don't know, I can't remember if it was the previous one or not, but this scene where they had a flashback of him being so proud of the gnome, I'm just, are we supposed to feel sorry for him or something?
I think he's, again, I think it goes back to the once justice thing, right? Where that's his justice, that's his take on the world, that's his worldview. Yeah. Like, he only cares about research no matter what it costs anybody.
Fair. If that's the case, it wasn't as how should I put it, as well as executed as the twice justice.
So here's where I stand on that question. What is the main theme of My Hero Academia? It's dreams, right? Following your dreams, achieving your goals. His dream was to be there at All for One side. And All for One's dream, I don't know if we've necessarily covered it in depth, but it's to be a comic book villain.
Yes.
So Dr.
Yes.
Dr. Garaki being the prototypical mad scientist, I feel like it falls totally in line with the nonsense that All for
Fair
One presents
enough.
to the story. So like him being over the
Fair
top,
enough.
him being ridiculous, I feel like is totally validated by that idea. And you're not supposed to feel bad for him. You're supposed to think it's ridiculous. That's why we have him spewing snot when Mirko is chasing him for the last 3 episodes.
Yes. Because he's literally playing young Frankenstein.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that's kind of the angle. But I love how I love how our own Mad Doctor can take another Mad Doctor seriously. So I find that very amusing. Now, the whole thing with President Mike, it was just so powerful. Also because this is the first time that we see, the second time, or at least in this season, it's the first time that we see. Well, actually, it started in season 5 because that's where they introduced the whole backstory with Kurogiri and all that.
Yeah.
We see President Mike as a person because he used to always be seen as an icon or as a as a laughing comedy stunt person, right? But first of all, we were giving President Mike so many shots as a badass, which, by the way, I'm really digging his powers this season.
So you weren't digging the Black Canary-esque powers before?
No, well, again, we haven't seen them in physical battle action like we're seeing them now. Most of the times we see him, he's just trying to shut up a couple of kids. You know what I mean? So I like that new sense of power, which makes me go like, holy crap, I want to follow this guy more. And not only that, I love that you bring Black Canary because the fact that he has DJ Punch, it was hilarious. But yeah, give me more President Mike. And this goes back to the first thing you mentioned, Mike, about spending so much time with the pro heroes. I love the idea that those ones that we've been viewing and knowing for seasons, we're finally seeing them as people.
Yeah.
So I like that. I like that. And how that's going to develop to something else forward. Now, Mirko's really hurt. Like, the Nomus have got her, like, really bad. Endeavor has to literally perform emergency wound cauterization, which is... It was so crazy. Now, I do want to bring this up. I remember reading all of these chapters.
Yes.
And I never felt the Nomus to be a threat. I feel that they've become actual characters in the anime now. And I'm really digging it.
What do you mean by you never felt them as a threat? Because I feel like we saw All Might struggle against the first Nomu.
Well, what I
mean saw
is
Endeavor struggle with the first high end, so why weren't they a threat up to this point?
In the sense of they're not just mindless creatures. Like they're actual, like we can act like these ones because they're high end and more developed. We see them like actual people and characters with thoughts and processes, and we've like it's just a different kind of Nomu is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
So they feel like actual characters. So I'm more scared about what they're capable of, as opposed to just being a target, as opposed to be a random creature that I find in my RPG that the only way I can beat it is by just throwing all the damage at it. Which is technically what every Nomu was before these set of high ends. Am I explaining myself?
I get it.
You know, so I'm digging the fact that I'm scared of them, and they feel like a threat in that sense, where like you can see them thinking, talking, and doing all these things. Like one of them outsmarted Erasure's ability and was able to go somewhere else to be able to use their abilities. Like all those things were to me like, holy crap! Like it feels like monsters that we should be scared of, as opposed to something that I just have to take down. So I like that a lot. Now, Mike, are we going to talk about Chiggy?
We've got to talk about Tomura Shigaraki because, boy, that's an amazing vision dreamscape sequence. And I was always fascinated by how they were going to adapt it from the manga because Horikoshi's art for those panels might be his best work in the entire series, honestly. To this day, still might be his best work. But yeah, like the way we get into Shigaraki's mind and we see it in fragments and we see it in hands and we see flashbacks of his family and how he processed that entire ordeal, I thought was so well done, because when you really think about it, that sequence did not last that long. It was a very short segment of the episode, but it felt like something straight out of Mob Psycho, honestly.
Yes.
Which I thought
Yes.
was very, very fascinating and a great direction from Bones there.
Yeah. It also is a visualization of how fractured his mind is.
Yeah.
Because he has literally all these hands pulling him in different directions. But not only that, though, it also creates another parallel with Deku. Did you guys catch it?
Even if I did, I'd rather you explain it for the folks who may not have.
That Tomura sees all for one in Vistage form, just like Deku sees the other users in Vistage form, with that weird smoke around him.
Yeah.
That was one of those visual aids that I saw that was like, okay. Because for the longest time, I think, even like we always knew there were going to be a certain connection between these two characters. Like we knew that was going to happen from the get-go. But I like that we're seeing this more drastic connection. Like it's not just the fact that these are a new villain and a new hero coming up in the world. Now there's a cosmic connection because it's now moving into all for one and one for all. And now we go back to the conversation with the doctor that we finally know. I think it's the first time that's mentioned in detail that what all for one wanted with Tomura Shigaraki, the reason that he's doing all this process is because he's giving him the all for one quirk.
Yeah.
Which, dun dun dun.
That, yeah, and you know, that's why the episode being named Inheritance is so well done, right? Because at first glance, when I clicked on the episode title, I'm like, oh, and again, so this is somebody who already knows what's about to happen. My brain is just like, oh, we're going to get another episode with Deku and learn more about One for All. But no, it's all about Shigaraki inheriting his power. And I just want to talk about this visualization, right? These are the hands.
Yep.
This is the placement of all of those hands throughout the entire series.
Yep.
These are also
100%.
His shackles, right? This is what's been holding him back from becoming the demon lord, essentially, that he's to become, and he's finally free. And
interesting enough, I'm glad you mentioned that. I don't mean to interrupt you, but we are meant to believe those are his shackles, or at least that's how he sees it.
Yeah.
Keep going. Sorry.
No, that was pretty much the idea of these are the things holding him back to his humanity. Essentially, right?
Yep.
Like his mom asking if he still wants to be a hero. Nana Shimura having her hand on his head, trying to pull him back. His dad stopping his progress from him moving forward. Those, I just love how we took his very dumb visual aesthetic of all these hands from the past 100 episodes, and we finally gave them purpose and meaning. And I just think it works so well because all for one, he's got the biggest grip of all on Tomura Shigaraki.
Yep.
More than anybody in this picture. But that's something that, like you said, he doesn't realize. And it'll be interesting to see going forward how they tackle that. We, again, already have an idea, but it's really, again, well done in the anime how they handle it. And I just can't wait to see them in next episode.
Yeah. It's been so awesome. Isaac, any more on this episode? Shigi's apparent inheritance of the All for One quirk and waking up, because that's again the cliffhangers on this season have been on point, guys.
Yeah.
Like they've been so good.
I mean, for me personally, I was thinking about ID invaded when they were inside the whole. You know what I mean?
Yes,
When they were
yes,
in the
100%.
machine. I'm not going to go into full detail because I want Mike to see it. Yeah, but
I appreciate that.
yeah, it reminds me in terms of how psychedelic it is.
Yeah, 100%, 100%.
Bones, if this is what it takes, if this is the quality we get when they don't do a movie, can we just never do a My Hero movie ever again?
Please elaborate.
No, it's just like the quality of this season as far as the animation goes has just been the highest it's ever been.
Yeah.
And the only difference is that they haven't announced a movie. And so
like they're just dunking all the resources.
Right, they're all of the top animators, all of the time and energy are just going into the show itself.
Yeah.
As opposed to, we got to make sure World Heroes Mission looks great, so we're going to cheap out a bit on My Villain Academia, which you can kind of feel last season.
It's very interesting you say that. And it's like, with this arc, Crisis on Infinite Academia, they just don't need a movie.
That's also fair. I think from here on out, it's going to be kind of hard to squeeze in movies in
yes.
My Hero Academia.
They were just getting movies out of their system.
Yeah,
because we ain't doing one for a while.
I mean, but look at this. This is ridiculous, guy. Also, this man is shredded. When was Shigaraki doing crunches?
Yes.
Like, come on.
Yes. He
I mean, to be fair, he's been in a tube and all that, so we don't know what's weird. But
so we're going Flash logic. Lightning gives him abs.
Yeah, I mean, this is
one of the greatest lines and one of the best seasons in television.
But I mean, it's one of the least weird things in this series. There are
No. I had to watch Deku on a beach for like 7 months get his abs. I need to know when Shigaraki was putting in the work.
Yeah, but Deku weren't in a tube of weird water that.
Well, I mean, to be fair though, in the battle with Redestro, we see muscle. Like, he takes care of himself. Keep in mind, he's always wore like a lot of baggy clothes though. So he's had some muscle. And remember, we kind of consider, or at least that's the way it's presented, at least in the anime more than anything, that whole arc where he's trying to conquer Giga and Tomakia.
Yeah, the
it's supposed to be
months.
Yeah, it's treated like he's training.
Yeah.
So there is precedent for the beautification of Shigaraki.
The glow up this man had over the last season and a half has been probably the biggest in anime history. I'm just gonna say it.
Yes. Okay, guys, are we done with My Hero? Because this conversation has been awesome.
Isaac, you have anything else to add besides Mirko and Shigaraki are both hot?
I mean, while you are absolutely right about that, it's going all in on the crispy science fiction element that we all know and love.
Look at this man! Come on, like seriously, this is the same crusty kid from season 1. You're kidding me?
I mean,
a tale as old as Shiggy.
I mean, we all know what some what's it called in English?
I don't know.
Some substance can do that.
Yes.
That
he got flow.
Seriously.
Yo, we're gonna call this Hustle Shiggy Flow. That's what this is. Hustle Shiggy Flow. That's what this is. Hashtag Hustle Shiggy Flow.
Hashtag he's inheriting Nana's beauty. It's finally kicking in after all this time. But yeah, I've got nothing else to add on MHA. We can move on.
I only got one more thing to add. Yes, it's happened.
Hustle, Shiggy, Flow.
Okay, guys, we've done it. We have broken down the latest 2 episodes of My Hero Academia. Thank you for joining us, guys. If you have more thoughts of the last 2 episodes of My Hero Academia, make sure you let us know what you thought about these awesome episodes or what you think about the season so far in the comments below. If you love what we do here at the Amateur Otaku Podcast, make sure to subscribe. Click on the like button, share with your friends, click on the bell for notifications so that you do not miss our bi-weekly coverage of My Hero Academia Season 6, because we're doing this again in 2 weeks and coming back again with 2 awesome episodes of My Hero Academia and our thoughts about them. Now, remember, guys, we're doing a Q&A at the end of the episode. So if you have any questions for us, make sure you put them on the comments below, and we will answer them at the end of the episode. We're going to take a quick 60-second break, and we're going to bring in our guest star, Jamie, and we're going to talk some Spy Family, because we had 2 hilarious and awesome and cute episodes of Spy Family. So if you have seen Spy Family, stay tuned and have fun with us as we talk about that. If you're not caught up on Spy Family, this is the right moment to move away. In the meantime, Isaac, where can people find you?
Well, Emblemaniac, Twitter, and Script, Wobum Entertainment.
Present Mike.
You can find me everywhere at Novice Cinephile, especially youtube.com/NoviceCinephile. We are having a lot of good stuff over at the Chatter After as well, so check that out wherever you get your podcasts.
And you can find me at the Scarlet Fan 52 on Twitter, and you can find the pod at Amateur Otaku Pod. We'll see you in a bit, guys. Peace.
The timer ended, so I guess we're back now.
The timer came. Hey, Jamie.
Hey guys,
What is going on?
You know.
I hacked the
thanks-
system. Okay, I'm like 60 seconds is too long. Let's talk about it now.
Let's do it, right?
Fair. Good morning, good afternoon, and good night. Welcome back to the Amateur Otaku Podcast. We are back here tonight to talk about anime, and we're talking about the one, the only, the cute, cuddly, and amazingly funny Spy Family. We're back with our bi-weekly coverage of Spy Family. We are talking episodes 15 and 16 of Spy Family. And Jamie, thank you for joining us again for more Spy Family awesomeness.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me. I'm excited to talk more Spy Family.
So, guys, let's go right in. Let's not waste time. If you guys love what we do here at the Amateur Otaku Podcast, make sure to subscribe, click on that like button, click on that bell for notifications so you don't miss any episodes or streams of the Amateur Otaku. You can find us on Twitter at Amateur Otaku Pod. So make sure you click on those links so you don't miss anything out, because we cover My Hero Academia and Spy Family every 2 weeks, and we do Chainsaw Man and Bleach every 2 weeks, and a lot of stuff in between. If you're going to stay till the end of the show, remember, we're going to do a nice Q&A at the end of the show. So if you have any questions that you've been wanting to ask us forever that you can't sleep unless... Okay, that's dramatic. If you have any questions for us, make sure to send them in the comments below or send it to us on Twitter, and we will answer it at the end of the show. But guys, let's talk Spy Family. Last time we left the show, we thought that Lloyd was going to gun down a dog. What a great cliffhanger. Now, Jamie, he didn't kill the dog. He was still a hero at the end. What were your thoughts of the last episode, episode 15 of Spy Family?
I really had a lot of fun with it. Glad to see, Doggo live to fight another day. Hopefully find the right trainers this time around.
Yes.
But it was really cool to see Lloyd's boss kind of like interact with his family, but in a way that's like, it's like we know who she is, but they don't, and make it seem like very natural. And also like Anya finally getting like the big fluffy dog of her dreams and naming him Bond. I thought that was super cute. And like I'm like, oh yeah, that makes so much sense.
Spy, I get it.
So much sense. Yeah. So love to see that he was like the new member of the family and that the vision came true and everybody's all right. Yeah, I really enjoyed it.
It was great. Isak, Spy Family, episode 15. Talk to me.
Well, it was a lot of fluff, that's for certain.
You see,
And
hold on. No, I'm
Big.
not letting you get away with that. That makes it sound like this episode was bad, and I know you're just doing it for the pun.
no, in all seriousness, I do truly enjoyed it, and I was just so delighted to see how they were, well, introducing, not introducing, incorporated the new family member in this the Forger household, and he is one great, solid family member of going down the line.
What I love the most about an episode like this one is that it justifies the what's the word I'm looking, the hook of the show. It's about the comedy that these dual lives bring to the mix, right? It's about the hilarity that ensues. So the dog and Anya talking to each other through their abilities, right? The fact that this guy's trying to escape Lloyd in the car, and suddenly Yor sees him, recognizes him. She kicks a car and it crashes. And then she's calling the police.
And this is why we all love Yor.
Yes, and then she's calling the police, like, "Hi, we found one of the terrorists." "Oh no, I'm the same housewife." like it was just hilarious. And then also, I love how Anya also played to her strengths. Like, yes, I know you're a spy, but I know I can tell you. But I'm gonna use it to blackmail you into letting me have this dog. Like, if I don't have this dog, I'm not going to school anymore. And then like the handler and Lloyd are like freaking out.
Oh no.
That was just hilarious. So hilarious.
Yeah,
But yeah,
she's smarter than they give her credit for.
yeah. And you know what? I'm glad that you mentioned that, because she's smarter than we give her credit for. But at the same time, it also highlights how great Endo-san, the creator and writer, the mangaka for Spy Family, how sensitive he is in understanding how the brain of a child works, right? Because it's the simplest ideas and the execution is perfect in a moment like that, right? Because at that point, children have the ability of being extremely selfish, right?
Yeah.
But the fact that she's selfish enough not to destroy the family unit makes her very smart as well. But also, I love how he's able to explore Anya's childlike mentality and how she arrives to the name of Bond. Like the whole thing with the gloves. Like, I like how natural that felt. Like, it didn't feel forced. Like if someone would see the name of the show and find out that the name is Bond without seeing this transaction, one would say, okay, that's very on the nose. But like, it earned the name.
Yes.
Because the execution was so great. Isak, when you saw how smooth Bond was in taking those gloves away from that dog, what do you think?
Just like when I saw that in the manga, I just laughed my ass off.
Yes. Oh, can we talk about that? When was the last time you guys watched a show that you would consistently laugh your ass off? Because I feel that I have great moments with Spy Family all the time, and I'm enjoying it so much because of that.
If you're legitimately asking, Abbott Elementary is one that consistently gets a laugh.
Oh yeah,
that's about it right now.
Nice. But do you get that same experience, Jamie? Like, you just burst out laughing. Like, I was at work, and I was laughing so loud. It was so bad.
Yeah, no, this is definitely, I feel like I don't know if I have a weird sense of humor or if a lot of other people's bars are just very low in terms of comedy, but I find that I don't laugh at a lot of things that the majority of people do. So
Hmm.
Spy Family is always a treat to me because I can always find something to laugh at in the show. Um, yeah, I
True.
definitely, this is like, that's I think one of the reasons why I enjoy it so much is because there's genuinely just like good writing and like good jokes inside the story, and they're not like too corny or like maybe not even corny at all, or like it just has the right amount of hits the right mixture of ingredients to create some good laughs.
I also think, and Mike, I wanted to get your take on this of everybody, but I think it also has to be with the mangaka choosing the right voices for the different types of jokes. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
Because the
Yeah.
jokes that he presents through your, they land. The jokes that he puts for Anya, they land because they feel like jokes or moments that a child would do, and everything's very organic with all the different characters. Like the moment where she's planning to like save the world, right? To get on Damon's side, on Desmond's side, because of the dog. And she has this vision of how it's going to play out, and then when she actually tries it and it doesn't play out, the idea of shock, and she just falls down and cry and like just
Yeah.
so beautiful.
It's yeah, that's a great point though, and this is something that we've said before in our Spy Family coverage, but it's worth reiterating. That just goes to show how well written these characters are, right? Because they're so well defined to where they do feel like real people at times, right? Like Anya
Right.
does come across as a real child, whereas we just got done talking about My Hero Academia. As much as I love the show, those are not real teenagers. Those are not real
Yeah.
No
15
way.
year olds.
No way.
Not
So,
moody enough.
right? Shoto honestly might be the most realistic depiction of a teenager in that series because he's just moody and doesn't really give a crap about anything. But
Right.
you come back here, Anya legitimately does feel like, yeah, this is probably what a 7-year-old would act like with telepathy. And these are the crazy situations where life doesn't necessarily go her way, even though she's envisioning this grand master plan of hers in her own head. And so, yeah, I think that just comes down to, like you said, understanding these characters and then having the ability to develop them as well as they have. Just speaks to the strength of the mangaka. And then also the adaptation of the anime, right? Being able to pick up on those moments. And not only that, from what Isaac has said, enhance them and make them even better than they were originally.
It's elegant.
Definitely.
So, and I'm glad that you explained it that way, Mike, because in this particular episode, if you really think about it, in comparison to the others, not a lot happens. It's not a heavy episode. It's not a dense episode. It's literally the aftermath of everything that happened in the last two episodes, which it's totally fine. But it has that weight of flow and that weight of permanence and hilarity because, like you said, the character is just so well written. Do y'all have a favorite moment in this episode in particular? How about you, Isaac?
The dog, how should I put it? The dog is welcomed into the Forger household, and when you see his backstory, I mean, you have a hard time not at least not. I can't blame you if you shed a tear.
Yep. Yeah, that was hard. That was hard because it trying to takes you to the idea that everybody in this family has so much baggage, but they're all hiding this baggage from each other, which is interesting drama.
Yeah, that's definitely one of my favorite moments. I think another good part, just for me, would be like getting to see like the boss lady kind of do her thing. Just because like I don't think there's necessarily mystery shrouded around her. It's just like we haven't really been exposed to her like that much in the show. So to get to see like her more serious side, and then to get to see how like she relates with Anya and is like letting her keep this big dog. I thought getting to expand on her character a little bit more was really cool too.
Yeah, I like the connection that, like, there's no way that you don't understand that her and Lloyd have some kind of tragic backstory that brings them together, right? There's no way that you don't understand that by seeing moments like that, right? So, so the idea that she had a daughter and that she was able to have that sensibility to see that and present that to us, it's like, wow, like it gives a lot of weight and reality because to that character. Like, which again, drama and turns are what make characters believable, right? Because up to this point, she was just Q from James Bond, right? Mm-hmm. Actually, M. It's M, not Q. Q is the other Afro guy. M from James. She's Judi Dench, right? That just operates like this leader of this clandestine institution, right?
I will never get the idea of Lloyd just being Daniel Craig out my head now. Thanks for that.
I mean, it's funny. If you took Daniel Craig, James Bond, and Daniel Craig, whatever his role is in Knives Out, and you blend them, you kind of get Lloyd.
Interesting.
I mean, I'm going to have to re-examine the donut hole to figure that one out. But
it's either that or the onion. So, but yeah, my favorite moment of the episode, a lot of what you guys said, but that moment of Yor just kicking the car was just hilarious. And then the aftermath of her calling the cops and going like, hey, I'm the housewife from before. It's like lady, like you can't just like create moments and accidents of like, oh, he was a terrorist. It's okay. And like, it was just hilarious. It was great. Anything else on this episode, guys, so we can move to the next one?
I think we're good.
Yeah, short and sweet.
Awesome. So that was our take on episode 15, A New Family Member. And this episode, guys, first of all, kudos to, I'm going to say this with the passion that I feel it in my soul. I'm really happy that Wit and Cloverworks are doing this, right?
Yes. Yeah.
I'm glad that they had the metaphorical balls to say, hey guys, we're going to do 2 episodes within an episode. I think it was just brilliant because the pacing was great. And I also like the fact that from when you see the fact that there are 2 episodes in one, you kind of have the sense that it's going to be just filler. But there's so much character development in these 2 short episodes that there's no way that it's filler. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
it's kind of taking a page out of Western animation, right? Where like you sit down and watch the half hour of SpongeBob, but there's like 2 or 3 episodes jam packed in there with as much character development and story as you want. But they're still able to accomplish that within like their 10 to 15 minute time span, which is great.
I don't think it was wise to mention Bikini Bottom in an episode that starts with Yor and Isak being in the same room. I just figured
I knew I should have just looked at the Hey Arnold analogy to avoid all.
I'm just gonna be silent on that one.
Why? Because you're being stepped on. So
good night, everybody.
Oh wow, I didn't scare it off Mike. But yeah, we got 2 episodes in one. Yor's Kitchen and the importance is Great Romance Plan or whatever. I probably wrote that wrong. Live. So I laughed my ass off consistently on so many things. But first, let's talk about Yor's Kitchen. I love spending time with Yor. Guys, what are your thoughts on this episode? Isaac.
I love it, and honestly, one of the few times that her brother is tolerable.
I mean, can we really say that? Because all the time that he's there, he's enjoying time with Yor, but every time that she talks about why she's doing it, she just wants her to get divorced from Lloyd. Like, it's so hilarious. Jamie, did you laugh out loud as much as I did in this episode?
Yeah, I honestly, because like it's like I knew that he didn't like Lloyd, but I don't know. It's still like his thoughts about like you're like,
Yes.
oh my god, like she's doing this for Lloyd. Like what the heck? This sucks. But then you hear like the other her friend's commentary, like, yeah, you should just divorce him already. He's like, yeah, do it. Like, oh my god, that's just the perfect. I feel like that was the perfect like matchup for those two characters, kind of like bounce this idea around and just play off of that. Like that was super funny.
Yeah, and also I like how the show acknowledges the characters for who they are, right? And whenever Yuri, Yor's brother, sees Camilla being like, it's Camilla, right? That's the name of the blonde one.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah.
Being mean to Yor, he goes, "Why is she so rude? I think I should execute her." Like, bro, put the brakes on. Like, it's so hilarious. Like, he's a psycho. And it's so
That's
funny.
an understatement.
And a loving brother.
Side note, right? Is the little footnotes.
Hey,
Loving brother.
he loves her the same way Twice loves Toga. Okay, that's been the theme of the entire night.
Yes.
Bit deranged.
Yes, a bit. It's but yeah, I like the in-depth time that we have with Yor. But I think the what most, apart from all the laughter, because there's so much anime death due to bad food, which is awesome. It kind of takes me back to Food Wars, which again is a great show.
Viewers' discretion is advised.
100%. Very important. But I love the interaction that we have with Yor, but her struggles as a member of the family, because I think we've always seen the struggle from afar, but I like seeing her struggle as a woman, and us allowing us, and the book allowing us to go into that world, right? Of her finding her role and playing that role properly. Not perfectly or properly, but because it comes from her. So like all that of her, we think she's killing people or whatever, but of course when we see the episode, it says Yor's Kitchen. We know that it's not about her other job. Yes, the results of bad food. But I love how when we get into it with Yor and we learn about her past, the little good things that she remembers with her mom, and then when she comes to the realization that she thought that she needed to protect the lie of the marriage or of the family to protect her side job, but the fact that she's finding happiness in them acknowledging her, and the fact that she's finding happiness in being part of the family. To me, that was just so beautiful.
Yeah. And I don't know about you guys all, but the scene where they make it so dramatical about her going to Camilla's house and waiting on the doorbell, and you see something dripping down at the bag.
That was so amazing.
When I read that chapter, or should I say scene in particular, I was just, how the heck? I'm so looking forward to when they are adapting that, and I was in tears. Let me put it that way. I was in
Laughter
tears.
or sadness or both.
What do you think?
Laughter. So much laughter. Did you have a favorite moment, Jamie, on that Your short?
I think my favorite moment, I don't know. I kind of just like seeing her in the kitchen and like, she's very familiar with the. Oh, first off, I was super shocked to see like she handed her the peeler for the potatoes, I think, and she just like completely cut her hands up. She's like, I'm not familiar with using this weapon. She's like, what are you talking about? Like how
That
did
was
you
so
manage to do
amazing.
that? And I
Yes.
can relate to that on a certain way because like I remember my first time using a potato peeler and I actually also peeled myself somehow. So, me and yours share that pain in
You don't
common,
know
I
how to use
guess.
those weapons.
Yeah, no, I was not familiar with that weapon at that time.
That is
Um,
so funny.
that
It
was super funny to see. I was not expecting that at all.
and I'm glad that you mentioned that because it also and it gets even worse when she's cutting everything wrong because she's using all the knives as weapons.
Yep.
She ends up destroying this lady's cutting board. Like it's ridiculous because she's hitting everything so hard. It is just hilarious.
I mean, she is inhumanly strong.
Truth. So much
True,
truth.
true. I also liked that we got to know a little bit more about her backstory with her brother
Yeah.
and like talking about like, when their mother was present in their life and the things they enjoyed about it. I thought that was really cool that she got to like bring a piece of that back to Anya and Lloyd.
Yeah. Yeah, that was great, and but I also like that there's like we see a future where this side of yours is going to continue to be explored, because you know how it's kind of set up like, oh, she finally made a dish that was edible, right? And they
Mhm.
enjoyed it, but they also wrap it up with she has a long way to go.
Yeah.
Now, can we talk about? We've always loved Anya, not just for her expressions, but because of the way. Have you guys caught that every time she says thank you, the subtitles say thank you with
Hmm.
it, like she has like a
Like a
like
speech
a
impediment.
yeah, like a lisp.
Hmm.
Which again, I
It's
love the.
present in the dub, everybody. If you're watching the dub,
So I'm glad I didn't know that. Now I want to watch the dub now,
Yeah, I didn't know
but
that either.
whenever she's in chalk, she says chalk. But I love that whenever York comes back and says, "Tonight I'll make dinner," and they're both going like, "Oh!" Like
Mhm.
they're freaking out. It was my favorite.
this still makes me laugh. Wait, is that mom on the other side?
Yeah.
No, there's another scene there where Camilla's looking at him like just doing this, and she says, "Are you eating or throwing up or both?" Like it was awesome. This short episode was awesome, and like I said, it was only half of the episode, but there's so much character growth and acknowledgement, right? We've always talked about fillers in different ways. Like there's filler that's just filler, but there's filler or scenes like this that are not really filler because they're expanding the world and the characters, right?
Yeah.
Which is why I love episodes like this because it's like and finally a your centric episode. Like literally, it was all about her. I
Yeah.
need more of this. We need more of this.
Also, can we all agree that the Last Supper was just pitch perfect?
Yes, that line. Oh my god. Yes. So again, the right voices have the right jokes and the right lines. It was so good.
It's look safe.
Yes.
This is my last supper.
No, but also how it ends with the vision that Bond had of her crying was her being grateful. Which again, pitch perfect directing, writing, and damn it, I love the show.
It's
Manga
a
is
great,
awesome.
it's a great palate cleanser coming off of the dark insanity of Chainsaw Man.
Oh
I
yeah, for
can't.
sure.
I can't wait to go
Yes.
back to Chainsaw Man next week.
Did
But
I heard that, Isaac. We're gonna
I mean,
ignore
we
that.
talked Chainsaw Man and how much Danny like wants to bark. So
woof. So, let's talk about the next one. This was a simpler one. It's a side story with what is his name? Frankie? Which is-
Scruffy head.
Scruffy Head, that guy. Where apparently he's trying to get a date, and the best thing happens. He contacts Lloyd and asks Lloyd for dating advice to find, and of course, Lloyd being Lloyd, he treats this like a mission. It was so hilarious. Jamie, what were your thoughts when suddenly Lloyd was dressed up like a woman?
Oh, boy.
Oh my god. Lloyd takes his job very seriously, and he came
Yes.
prepared to take care of this task and help out his friend. So I expect nothing less from Lloyd. Still very shocking, but that's the kind of friend that I need in my life.
Yes. And so you need a friend that will write down an actual flow chart of how a conversation can go so you can build social interactions.
That's exactly how I want my friends to act.
Have you guys not seen Nathan Fielder's The Rehearsal on HBO? Because that's literally what the show is.
All about
I
social
don't think I
interaction.
have.
So, yeah, the entire concept is Nathan goes over every single possible scenario in a conversation, and they have to rehearse it before they actually have the social interaction that they're preparing for. It is ridiculous.
That sounds like a Shatter After episode.
You should work with the police.
Yeah, it's an insane show. It's on HBO Max if you guys want to check it out.
Awesome. Isaac, what was your favorite moment of this short story?
Well, I don't honestly know. It's probably it's the end when it's the end scene when they are at the bar.
Yeah,
That's all I'm gonna say.
that's great. I'm glad that you mentioned that because it brings something that I wanted to bring to the table. I want to hear your thoughts on. And so of course, whatever Lloyd did not help Cruffy Head at all. And he goes to a bar to drink, like every man that's broken down in his luck does. And out of nowhere, Lloyd comes back. And you can kind of see Lloyd like treating him like a friend, like, hey, like I've failed, I've been where you're at, and they're just two buddies having a drink, right? But I love that through this story, we get a look not only into Frankie's tragic love life, but we get a look into what's going on in Lloyd's heart, which leads me to this great insight to the story and where it's moving, which is kind of like where I've been wanting it to go. Not because I've been dissatisfied with everything else, but this is what I want. This is what I wanted because it's the promise of the show, kind of. But we find that Lloyd is struggling with the fact that he is recognizing that he's creating emotional connections with Anya, Yor, and now Bond. And he understands that when the mission is over, this is over. So it's kind of like that sense of reality of the lie that they're creating is actually providing the happiness that they always wanted. And the conversation that's been promised with the thesis of the show is that their happiness, the happiness of all these characters lies in the life that they're creating for themselves, not in the life that happened to them, right? Because you kind of find all these characters, the one thing they have in common is that they're all victims of circumstance, right? Like we know that Lloyd is an orphan due to war. We know that Yor was pretty much forced into becoming a Black Widow in the Red Room to be able to provide for her family, right? Because she didn't have her parents anymore. Bond was tragically, tortured and all that to make him into a Back to the Future dog. And Anya was experimented but was left with no parents. So, but them creating this world that it has been created out of lies forces them to deal with all these emotions, but not being able to communicate with each other about these emotions because they're all lying to each other. what do you guys think about the fact that we're starting to have those conversations? Like it happened with Yor in her segment, right? Where she's talking about, I thought that I needed to defend this marriage to continue to kill. But the fact that she sends these, she's being recognized by the family makes her happy, and those things like that, right? What do you guys like about this turn that we're starting to see the promise of the show itself in these main characters?
Yeah. So one thing I find very fascinating is that it feels kind of sudden at times for me. And I think that comes to we're actually splitting season 1 up. So this is something that I would expect from a season 1, right? But by having the chorus split up like the way that they have, kind of made the pacing feel a bit off to me, at least to me in the second half of the season, because my brain is still seeing it as season 2, like a restart of Spy Family, when in fact it's a continuation from what we've been watching the entire time. But I do think it's a natural development, a natural turn, and I'm really fascinated to see where it goes, right? Because the idea of having those attachments, but also knowing that in an instant, once he gets the information he needs, it's all over. And that effect on Lloyd, but also him having those feelings, knowing what Anya has gone through, even though he doesn't know the experimentation and the telepathy, he knows how bad that orphanage was, Yeah. And so like all of that, I'm sure is weighing on him in some form or fashion. So I think it's a very great concept, one we kind of saw coming from the very beginning of the series, but I just love how we're starting to develop those ideas as we get further along in the season.
Yeah. How about you, Jamie?
Yeah, I definitely like you were saying, like I think this is where the show can really show some great potential as far as storytelling goes. Like I've been loving the story so far and the interactions between these different characters, and really I think it's really smart that we got to like see this relationship build instead of like, one episode they're strangers, next episode they're family, and now they're dealing with this kind of like conundrum of like, we're family, but we're not really family. Like I'm only here for one purpose. I'm glad we actually got to see like these feelings like build up. So now I'm also invested in this relationship as an audience member. And to see them start to question, like, what's going to happen in the future after this mission is over, or after, this marriage has satisfied my needs as far as just hiding my assassin side gig. I'm really liking where it's going, and I'm curious to see like how things are going to play out, because just like in my head, not being familiar with the manga or anything, I'm thinking like there's got to be some way where they stay family at the end of the day. But it could very easily be, Lloyd, he has to make a hard decision. It's like, I'm a spy, I would put you guys at risk if we stay together, so we'll have to like, go our separate ways. So it's honestly kind of scary to think about it like that. But I think they've really made gained a huge achievement just by making me so invested in this relationship and curious as to where it's going to go next.
You saw the trophy icon when that conversation happened.
Yeah.
Isak.
Yes.
What do you think about the development of the characters, where the story's going, and these emotions and those things?
I'm not gonna comment due to me reading the manga.
Damn it, Isak! Just tell me what you think.
I love
it's
how
a good the execution. Damn it.
That's good, yes.
I love how Isak is sitting there like, what are you asking me? Like he just tuned us out for the last.
It's like Captain Cop Out. Like we still love you, Isak.
You are our friend.
Now, I love, but yeah, I love the fact that they're living up to the promise of the show, right? And also because of these struggles that are happening, they got the audience. They have us in their tip of their on a string, right? Because we all want them to stay together. Mm-hmm. And the fact that they're adding that tension about that they may be an end to this union, we're all going like, no.
So,
So-
sorry.
Go.
I was just gonna ask. Outside of Isaac, has anyone else read the manga?
I haven't.
I have
Okay.
not.
So, what do you guys if they were hypothetically, because I haven't read it either, so I'm not spoiling anything. If they hypothetically did break them up, how do you think the story would go forward? Would we just start following them individually and have them reunite later, or do you think there's no possibility that they break this unit up?
I think the show is not built to exist with them broken up permanently. So as long as there are legitimate reasons for them to be in their own space, I think it can work. But
Yeah,
there have to be like legitimate reasons.
I agree with that. I think if anything, like if the family were to break up, I feel like it would be metaphorical and not like a physical, like we're all going our separate ways.
Right.
I feel like now that I'm thinking about it, I feel like it would be everyone kind of discovers each other's secrets and a fissure happens that way because it's like, oh my god, like we're supposed to be family. How did you not tell me this? But at the same time,
Right.
you were also keeping a secret. So I could definitely see how like that kind of like reveal to everyone would make except for I guess Bond. Bond is kind of like, he can't really say what what's going on with him. But I think that would put walls between people. But I would hope they would ultimately be able to overcome it. But I think that's how, if a breakup were to happen, I feel like that would be the way it would happen.
Nice.
I mean, this is an somewhat family-friendly action comedy. This is no spoilers by any means because I can.
I'm
tell
just
you
glad
that-
you're talking.
because I just feel that the execution tone and all that, yes, I would be shocked if they permanently left each other.
Yeah.
So, from what I'm hearing, is that they don't because Isaac wouldn't be in shock if it happened. Spoiled it anyway. Thanks, buddy.
Now, it was. I love how.
They haven't said there isn't no, there ain't no. The series is going to end in 5 months. For what we know, it can end in 3, 4, 5 years. For all we know, so
3, 2, 1. Let's jam. So we love we can all agree this show is still phenomenal, and we love where it's going. Isaac gave us his favorite scene of the episode, which is why. But he brought something good, so that's why we went with that topic. Jamie, favorite scene?
My favorite scene. I think. My favorite scene of this episode in particular, or just the season so far?
Well, of this short.
Of the short? Okay.
Yeah, we'll probably do like a season thing when the season's over.
Okay. Yeah. I think Lloyd getting together with, I did look it up, his name is Frankie, at the end, and like
Scruffy
sitting
head.
down. Yeah, Scruffy. It's like sitting down, having a drink with him, and showing he has a softer side, and it's like, you get him next time, man. Like it'll be all right.
Yeah.
I really like that because I think like it's interesting because the way that Lloyd comes off as a character is very like, I'm a tough guy, like, I do things to get things done, like no feelings attached or anything. But a lot of his actions have actually gone against that kind of ideology, and so it's interesting to see that kind of that fissure whenever it happens.
It's interesting that you mentioned that because it makes me think about the fact that because of Lloyd's job, he's never meant to be a person.
Right.
He's meant to be, or he's built himself to be something that it can be anything. But now that he's become a person because of the new role, he's finding who he is again. So that's why you're seeing those emotional breakdowns here and there. Does
You
that
know
make
what
sense?
it reminds me of?
Yeah.
It reminds me of Batman in a lot of ways, right? Like once
Yes.
once you start integrating Robin, Batgirl, these Bat family characters,
Yep.
he starts to soften up and he starts to change and he starts to become a different person.
Yeah.
Whereas before it was the mission, right? The fight against crime in Batman's case, all of Lloyd's missions up until this point, and you're starting to see the cracks and you're starting to see the facade kind of fall apart in a good way, though. It's making him a better person.
Right.
I'm glad that you brought the Batman angle also, because the other side of the Bat family dynamic is that not only does it show the cracks of the human behind the Bat, but it shows the trauma behind the Bat. Because a lot of the reasons why the Bat family is so troubled a lot of times is because of how messed up Bruce really is. It really goes back to a lot of stuff that he hasn't worked through.
Yeah, I mean, he never worked through anything, considering he dresses like a bat and his parents were killed when he was 8. Like that's like 15 years removed from him becoming Batman. He clearly never was able to move on from that.
Yep, true. So I'm to end the Spy Family conversation, I'm going to go to my favorite moment. I'm going to say it very simply, is when Lloyd and Frankie are at the cafe. Frankie's just screaming at Lloyd about everything that's happening. He's screaming at Lloyd. The camera pans back. You can hear Frankie screaming at Lloyd and just calling him stupid and just screaming at everything. And suddenly, out of nowhere, a caption comes in the screen. They are whispering. like out of nowhere. I just lost it. Because you hear them just screaming and bickering about everything, and they're talking like about how him just asking for help and screaming, and it literally says they're whispering. Like, it's just hilarious.
He was screaming on the inside.
Yes. It was so great. And it's funny because you see that pop up as the voice actor is literally like screaming at him. So it was just hilarious. Well, guys, we've talked Spy Family. Any thoughts on Spy Family?
It's a banger.
Yes. Go watch it.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like if you're like somehow you don't watch anime and you ended up on this channel, first of all, welcome. I feel like Spy Family would definitely be like a great like anime starter, just because it's like it's not like super shonen or it's like I must do this for my father kind of thing, you know? Like it's very like, you know, like it's very simple premise. Like, you know, Spy has to get this mission done and he ends up meeting people along the way and they're all like very lovable and have their own little quirks. Like it's definitely and that's one of the reasons I think I love it so much. It's just very approachable and a lot of fun.
Yeah. Awesome.
No Kamehameha is required.
Correct. Now, guys, if you love what we do here at the Amateur Talker Podcast, make sure you subscribe, click the like button, click on the bell for notifications so you don't miss any episodes, any live stream, any of our content here at the Amateur Otaku Podcast. We will be back in 2 weeks talking more Spy Family. So stay tuned to the channel so you don't miss our continued coverage of this amazing, lovable, cute, and hilarious show based on the work by Tatsuya Endo, which is a great mangaka. So make sure you don't miss next week's episode. If you're watching Chainsaw Man and Bleach, the 1,000-Year Blood War, don't worry. Next week, we are coming back with our coverage of Chainsaw Man 2 and 3 and Bleach, 1,000-Year Blood War 2 and 3. So make sure you subscribe so you don't miss that live stream either. Every Sunday, here we talk anime. Right. So we have our Q&A portion coming. So if you're ready to step out, don't worry. You can find me at the Scarlet Fan 52. Jamie, where can people find you?
At Swiper Art on Twitter, and I think YouTube's supposed to be doing like this handles thing, so I'll make it the same. So at Swiper Art everywhere.
Awesome. Isaac, where can people find you?
Twitter, Emblemaniac. Work, Boom Entertainment.
And Mike, where can people find you?
I love how Isaac condensed that into like 4 words. But you can find me at Novice Cinephile everywhere, specifically youtube.com/novice cinephile.
And you can find the pod at Amateur Otaku Pod. And make sure you subscribe to the channel. Now, as promised, guys, we had a Q&A portion. We got 2 questions from our listeners, and we are ready to tackle them. And I figured we do this first one now because it really only pertains to me and Isaac. So I figured we get that one out of the way first. But our friend Nick Lander 2, it's at Nick Lander 2 on Twitter, asked us the following. How did amateur otaku come to be? So Isaac, I figured it's easier if I just tell the story and you say, Brandon, you liar, and
I can give a short version of it.
How do you know? We didn't even hear his version of it.
Okay, go on.
No. I want to hear it. Go, Isaac.
I want to hear
No,
both versions. I feel like this is going to be one of those situations where both of you tell it completely differently.
I contacted his cousin so we could have a collaboration with him. I wanted to talk anime. I think it was Matt that suggested Brandon. I DM Brandon. We did a random Attack on Titan episode with Landon, and then we
Time out. You're throwing a lot of words at me, and I don't know who we're talking about or where we're going with this because I also don't know the lore behind this entire
Brandon,
podcast.
take it out.
So I need to know.
You know, as a senior member of this podcast, I'll go ahead. I'll tell the story.
Brandon, go ahead. I was trying to do a
So in an age where Dragon Balls no longer work. No, I'm kidding. So very simple. So there used to be a site called Revenge of the Fans. And I used to write articles for it, movies, a lot of DC stuff, a lot of Flash stuff, right? And there was one time that I wanted to do anime stuff and stuff like that. And my cousin Mario, which you might find him at Superman on Film, great guy, he used to run the site. And at some point, Isaac got involved with them because Mario would collaborate with Wobam Entertainment. And that's how Isaac got involved. And Isaac found out that I like anime. And Isaac reached out and said, hey, man, do you like anime? What do you like to watch? I was thinking of talking to you about anime or whatever. And I actually sent them back a list of everything that I've watched and enjoyed, have seen watching. And he was, you guys are not going to believe this, but he was actually surprised that I've seen so much and have enjoyed so much. And we talked about creating this joint venture because I was in Revenge of the Fans, he was at Walmart Entertainment, and we figured, how about we create a channel or create a podcast where we can just talk about anime to create an anime presence for both websites, but more importantly, create a space for people that don't know what anime is, don't know where to start in the anime world, but also talk about anime with people that already love it. So it was very beginner oriented, which is why the name Amateur Otaku made the most sense to us, because if you look up the meanings of the word of otaku literally means someone that's obsessed about something in a way or to the point that it affects his ability to socially interact. That's literally what otaku means. And amateur, it's literally someone that's an expert at something, but is not an expert in a professional sense, right? And we figured that that blended really much what we wanted to do. We wanted to appear as the obsessive yet amateur expert to people, so that they know what to watch, they knew what to search. And we started doing spoiler-free reviews. I still remember we did in episode 0. These live streams are actually part of season 4. We've been doing the Amateur Otaku for almost 4 years now. And we've done a lot of episodes in the podcast. In our 3rd year, we expanded onto YouTube, and now we have 126 subscribers and counting. So we're very happy with the progress that we've had. Mike joined us with My Hero Academia and his passion for that. And we're just growing the show, and I think it shows in the way we interact with people, in the comments and stuff like that, how we like to incorporate different voices onto the show, but also in the comment section. we just want to create a space for people to talk about anime. And one of the things that we talked about also in the beginning was that anime was always seen as the cinematic or animation medium's weird cousin twice removed, right? Especially in the West. But it's funny that we started a podcast in a period of anime's existence where it just blew up in pop culture. Does that make sense? Because if you go back 5 years ago, anime wasn't that recognized everywhere in the West. It grew, it blew up. This, like, everybody that, like, people that knew anime were people that just knew anime, but it's blown up in such a way that's so awesome and gratifying, and that's kind of like the conversation that we wanted to be a part of. So I don't know. That's in a nutshell. Which is, I'm sorry, that's a huge nutshell. But that's how the Amateur Talk came to be. That's why we do what we do and celebrate what we love.
Well, you took a more, and here I was trying to see if I could make a more TLDR version, but yeah, spot on.
We didn't need the too long didn't read version simply because you were throwing names like Matt and Brandon's cousin, and for the audience, they don't know who those people are because I don't think.
So I think
that much on this channel.
My bad.
You're good. You're good.
So for point of reference, Mary Francisco is my cousin. He's run a very successful pop culture podcast called the Fanboy Podcast. He's been running that for almost 7 years. So you guys got to check him out at Superman on Film on Twitter.
We'll link the channel in the description for you guys.
Yes, so you guys can check it out. He does coverage every week. He's grown and expanded the show. He's now hosting with his very good friend Brett Mirko, which is also an amazing dude and a great lover of video games and everything Nintendo. So they're having a blast over there. So if you like talking about DC, Superman, Marvel, movies, entertainment, you guys got to check out the Fanboy Podcast. It is awesome.
Yep.
But that answers the first question. I hope everybody's satisfied with the answer. If you're not, I'm sorry, but that's the best I can do. But guys, ready for question number 2?
This is a fascinating question. And
yes.
I wish I had more time to think about it, but I'll do my best.
I mean, we already know your answer, and it's a controversial one.
Is my dress-up darling really that controversial?
Oh, is that the one? I thought you were going to go with ATLA, but that's one. I mean, again, that's you going against Brand, so good for you. Okay, so question number 2 is from at Nate the VA on Twitter. He asks us, favorite anime series of all time. Now, I talked way too much for the last 5 minutes. So, Jamie, if you were to pick one, what is it?
This is a very hard question, and I actually hate these kinds of questions because I'm like, oh, I don't want to put one of my babies over the other because the other one will be sad. But I would say, I would say my favorite anime series of all time would probably be JoJo. JoJo's Bizarre Adventure.
Interesting.
I really enjoy like the characters and the story they're telling, and Araki Sensei is like a very talented artist. So and seeing his art like transform over the years has also been super interesting. And my brother actually introduced me to the series, and so like thinking back to like when I was first watching it and like the transition from using Hamon to using stands. I'm like, wait, so they're never using Hamon again? He's like, yeah, no, they're never doing it again. I'm like, what? And just like there's so many like twists and turns that the show has. I love it. I love it. I can't say anything else.
It's a real bizarre adventure, I take it.
It really is.
Jotaro! Dio!
Oh my
taste
god!
Of a liar.
Old man Joseph literally made part 3 for me. He's just like, oh my god! Like every time, the baby burst out laughing.
It's so funny. It's so funny.
This is a JoJo's reference, by the way.
That is a great take. Have you read the manga, or are you just watching the show?
I haven't actually read the manga. That was something that I was like, you know what? I like it so much, I probably should at some point. So it's on my list. I actually started reading Chainsaw Man a while ago. So I'm like, I'm trying to do it one at a time so I don't get overwhelmed. So
Nice. Well, the good thing, the interesting thing about JoJo, at least in my understanding, listeners, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that the English translation is only up to Stone Ocean.
Yes.
I don't think they have Jojalian or whatever it's called, or the other one, Golden Spear or whatever. But because I know they're going into the 9th series, I know Aragaki-san is still on a break, right? And then
I
he's
think
coming
so.
back, and then I think he's coming back with the newest one, which again he's still going after almost 35 years, because JoJo's old, guys. JoJo is old.
Yeah, I was watching like a JoJo fun facts video. I think JoJo started like maybe the 80s, maybe even earlier than that.
I think it was the
don't know.
70s. Yeah, I think it was the
Yeah.
70s.
JoJo's like it's really old. So the adaptations are like all like it was a long time coming.
Yeah, yeah. But I'm glad you mentioned JoJo. I mean, I think JoJo again is a super popular show, but also is a show that has evolved with the times.
Yeah.
Which it's hard to say. Like, everybody talks about One Piece, but One Piece does its thing perfect. But JoJo, buddy, JoJo.
Yeah. I mean, they have like 2 fashion icons in their show, Like what other anime can say that?
Yes.
What other anime can say that?
So if you guys like JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, check out our review. We'll put the link in the description. We've done Phantom Blood, Battle Tendency, and we've done Stardust Crusaders. So if you guys want to check that out, make sure you check out the links below. And maybe, who knows, Jamie, if we cover Diamond is Unbreakable and Golden Wind, maybe you can join us.
Yeah, I would love to do that. Part 4 is one of my favorites. So
Nice. Mike,
Hi there. Hello.
best series of all time. Go.
Well, this is funny because Isaac actually asked this question on the Twitter earlier this month, and we have some fun responses there. But as you can see,
did we have them?
One Piece didn't crack Isaac's top 4, and we really made fun of him for that because peak fiction needs to be number 1. Dang it! But for me, of course, it's still Cowboy Bebop, right? That's the
Nice.
That's
Nice.
the answer all the time until something somehow
Yes.
tops it. It's a tight 26 episodes, episodic storytelling, but again, that through line, right, of learning about Spike and Vicious and that relationship, or his relationship with the Bebop crew, learning about Faye and Jet as well, even Ed and Ein.
Yeah.
It's just a perfectly told story that it'll forever be my number 1 answer. That said, I want to give a shout out to Attack on Titan simply because that series, man, it's the first anime I've ever watched, and I couldn't take it.
I'm sorry.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's the first anime I've ever watched, and I legitimately, I texted Isaac, I'm like, I can't get through this. This is too bleak. This is too bleak for me, especially at that point, which is when I switched to My Hero Academia. You guys know how that went.
Yep.
I'm at the point. Where it's like there's so much lore. I'm like, I feel like I have to go back and watch everything again.
Yeah.
Like it's been a great journey, but a long one. And so I'm like, it's oh my gosh. And the fact that they're splitting up the final the final season part 5, like whatever.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my god. That was not necessary, but I was
we got to like season the final season part 1, and I said F it and read the manga, and I read the end of Attack on Titan because I got tired of waiting.
Yeah.
Yes, which in hindsight was a great idea because at that point we only thought there'd be 2 parts, and now there's at least 3 parts, which is just funny.
And a movie.
Oh boy,
They're doing the Community thing.
6
Seasons and a movie.
No, but like Attack on Titan is such a great show once you have the stomach for it. Once you're able to get invested in that incredibly tragic world, and then you learn even more about Eren as a character, right? And I think that's why it's so fascinating. The more you see Eren develop, and you start to realize Eren's not the most stable dude.
No.
It's Breaking Bad, the anime.
Yeah.
Exactly. And Yeah, Attack on Titan, as far as modern anime, would be my number one. But I will always have Cowboy Bebop until something somehow dethrones it.
I'm good. Attack on Titan. Whenever anybody asks me about Attack on Titan, right, I always say the best thing about that show is that the show becomes different things as the story progresses. It starts as a horror show, then it becomes a mystery show, then it becomes a political show and a war drama, and then it becomes fantasy war drama, and it just continues to evolve, and it's done so well and so organic that you get so much out of a story that when you really analyze it, it's only 139 chapters. The amount of world building in those so many few chapters is astonishing. So, well done. Well done. Good pick.
Yes.
Cowboy Bebop. Oh, and also Cowboy Bebop.
Yeah, that's the real answer. But I'm talking enough about Bebop on this channel at this point.
Yeah. Isaac, number one, all time.
I mean, people know that by now.
I mean, he didn't make your top four, so please just say what it is.
It is.
Ha! Peak fiction.
Just say it.
Isaac, you have to assume every video is somebody's first. Everybody does not know what you're talking about.
Exactly.
Yeah, I know. Violet Evergarden.
And he puts Luffy on there? Why are you... He's like trolling the world.
Well, Isaac trolls. I'm just going to show his top four since he refuses to talk, okay? There we go. Boom. Done.
Yeah.
Well done.
It's... Well, let me put it like this. When it comes to Violet Evergarden, I think it's a beautiful show, both in terms of animation and emotional writing.
I think I bawled for maybe like 3 episodes straight at some point.
You see, y'all keep saying stuff like this, and that's how you're going to get me to not watch it.
No, it's really good. It's not
good.
like I was.
There's a liberating feeling when you're watching a show that allows you to cry like a little bitch.
Yeah,
I cry enough in my everyday life. I don't need anime making me
you get
cry
a different
more.
reason to cry. It's something different.
It's the art, man. It's the art, man.
It's a good cry, not a bad cry.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
It's a cry for help.
It's like watching Coco. Coco is an excellent movie, and at the end you cry. Like it's just something. It's a side effect. It's a side effect.
She's trying to catch you with the Pixar hook. You see that? She's trying to get you.
Yeah, but also I have not watched Up since it came out for that very reason.
What? Oh man.
Da 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 da.
No.
Da 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 da. So Violet Evergarden, great show. It's actually, Isaac, one of the first shows we ever covered.
Yeah, I believe so. And
So that was awesome.
Flashback. Weren't Mike a part of the episode 0 when we talked?
We talked Alita Battle Angel. I think you were,
Yeah.
Mike. That was awesome.
That was episode 0?
Well, the non-spoiler Alita was,
Wow.
and then the spoiler one was like episode 1.
It was fake.
I mean,
0.
yeah, it was fate.
So, it's my turn, right?
Now it's your turn.
So I'm gonna make this very simple.
You
guys-
Shadow Clone Jutsu.
Yeah. Do you guys see my my avatar, right? My favorite. It's Full Metal Alchemist, guys. You
talked about Sailor Moon.
That's da 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 da. Damn it! Anime music is amazing. By the way, I cannot stop listening to Kickback from Chainsaw Man, and I will never stop.
We've got to do an episode just on anime music, honestly.
Yes.
It's worth it.
Yes.
It's a
That'd be
discussion.
good.
Yes. Let us know in the comments if you guys want us that to make our topic next week, because it's gonna happen. So now, Full Metal Alchemist. I don't know. I don't know why. I don't know if it's even true because I'm old, but I have a feeling that was the first anime that showed me how broad, dense, and interesting anime can really be, and how real it can be in creating a world. I love the mechanics, the magic system. I love the characters and how real and grounded these characters feel in this fantasy setting. I love the animation. I love the music. And it's a very, very, very closed loop show, right? It's not a show that leaves you questioning things. You feel very satisfied with the presentation, with the process and the delivery, right? And you just gotta love Ed. It has all the anime tropes that you can think of, but done right. Like the comedy is very, very immature anime comedy, but it's well executed. All the emotional beats are well prepared and presented. All done in favor of the characters, just the construction of the characters, and also one of the few instances where having two different takes on the same characters have produced amazing results. As for those that know or don't know, there's two versions of Full Metal Alchemist. There's the original series from 2003, which was released while the manga was still in serialization. And because the mangaka got sick and couldn't continue writing it, the popularity of Full Metal Alchemist was so huge that they kept making the anime into an original story, and it ended
Game of Thrones.
Yes, but it actually worked, and it closes the loop with a great movie, Full Metal Alchemist: The Conqueror of Shambhala, but then because it never had its correct ending, years later, I think it was 2012 or 8, I don't remember. They came up with Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. And they literally provided a very faithful adaptation of the book, which again was done perfectly well. And I know that I've watched, as I grew up and watched Adult Swim or whatever, I saw the original one and I saw Brotherhood, and I didn't know there were different shows because the presentation was just perfect of the characters of the world that I could just continue watching it. And it's a great show if you're looking for a great story. And I think it's one of those animes that the story is just, it's not just epic, it's timeless. Because it doesn't feel like it belongs to anything else except itself. And once you're in that world, you don't want to leave. Full Metal Alchemist, through and through. I'm actually collecting the Full Metal edition of the manga because I'm going to jump back into that story once I have the collection. So
sweet. Can't wait to start it.
Yep, Full Metal Alchemist.
So before we wrap this topic up, I just want to give a shout out because again, Isaac did tweet about this a few weeks back. So shout out to our friend Leo Rydell of Geekly Goods sending us his top 4. His number 1, of course, being Naruto, specifically Shippuden, though I feel like he's also including all of the original Naruto.
Yeah.
Which, Naruto, fantastic anime.
Phenomenal.
It's great. Even though I think his crush on Sasuke is a bit extreme at times.
So in other words, the man that hates Sakura is playing a Sakura? Okay, go ahead.
So we've got Film Optics, our boy Christian, friend of the show, sent his as well. He, again, put Naruto on here, Cowboy Bebop, Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, and the sneaky pick, Avatar The Last Airbender. Whether you want to count that as an anime or not is up to you, but I feel like its influence on Western culture really helped the anime boom in the 2010s once that show wrapped.
If you don't agree that it's an anime, then you're wrong.
You guys know my stance on it. Look at my profile picture.
So what you're saying, Brandon, you should be on that Otaku Wars episode where debating about if it's an anime or not.
Probably.
Jeez.
Jeez. But this is awesome, guys. What great picks. Jamie, thank you for joining us for another episode of the Amateur Otaku Podcast. Thank you, listeners, for your questions. They were awesome. Tons of fun to answer. If you guys love what we do here at the Amateur Otaku Podcast, make sure you subscribe. Make sure you click that like button. Make sure you click on the bell for notifications so you do not miss any episode, any stream, any podcast. If you missed the live stream, don't worry. It will appear out of thin air in our Spotify account tomorrow at some point in time, so you can go listen to it on the go, or probably revisit it if you missed some of the topics because you weren't caught up with the show, or you missed the Q&A. Guys, thank you for joining us. Thank you for being awesome. Keep watching anime. Before we go, Jamie, where can people find you?
You guys can find me on excuse me, on Twitter at SwiperArt. I also have a YouTube channel. It's Swiper, but the URL is like different, so you just search it, you'll find it. And my channel where I play games and talk about I almost said anime news. Talk about gaming news, and yeah, just all things gaming, reactions, all that kind of stuff.
Cool.
It'll
Isaac.
all be linked in the description, you guys. Check it out.
Yes, it will be.
So many links.
Isaac, where can people find you?
Maybe we could use this description against Ganondorf, but I digress.
Ha ha ha! Gaming reference. I understood.
Well, you can find me at Twitter, I suppose, at Emblemaniac, and work at Vobam Entertainment.
Mike Thomas.
Yeah, you guys can find me at Novice Cinephile on YouTube, on Twitter, on the Chatter After podcast. We are dropping Constantine this week. It's a good one. Check it out. Also, Geek Vibes Nation.
Groovy, man.
We are talking Black Adam, the hierarchy of power. May or may not have changed in the DC universe. We're breaking that down tomorrow night over at GBN. And of course, here, talking anime every week.
Awesome. And you can find me at the Scarlet 50. And you can find me at the Scarlet Fan 52 on Twitter. And you can find the pod at Amateur Otaku Pod. Have it awesome, guys, and keep watching anime. Till next week, peace.